Hi everyone, my name is Ashley Herwold. I decided to do character development for the play Fences, and I wanted to start with Troy Maxon. He's the main character of the play, and he is a father. He is a hard worker. He provides for his family. He works in garbage and sanitation, most likely just garbage. He throws barrels of garbage, whether it be into trucks, into trash compactors. I am not sure. However, he is a hard believer in hard work. You can get whatever you want, you can get whatever you need if you work your behind off. And he depicts that hard work onto his son Corey, who is a really good athlete, and he is very likely to get a scholarship for a college. And his father, Troy, just wants him to keep working, to keep making money, to keep going forth and going ahead because he himself had his own issues and troubles with trying to become an athlete and be a big star and all these other sports related issues. The whole play revolves around baseball. One strike, two strikes, three strikes, you're out, and it's an interesting play. Troy is a very negative person. He likes to make up his own little stories, and his wife Rose likes to call him out on them and make sure that everyone knows that the stories that he is saying are very made up and very hopeful. Um, he's actually almost at I wanted I was a little wrong saying negative. I would say that he was at a more comfortable zone where he was working for everything that he needed to work for and wasn't okay with where he was at and he wanted to strive for more. So, being that when whites were driving the dump trucks or the garbage trucks, um, he was like, well, why can't I do that? Why can't any of us do that? And when he complained to the department and was like, hey, why, like, what's up with this? Why can't we be driving the trucks as well, meaning African Americans? Um, everyone in town thought he was going to get fired. And he ended up getting a promotion, which really changed his mood completely. And he was more positive and outgoing, and he was out more often, and everything was much more comfortable because it was getting paid. It was getting paid faster and easier, and there was a little more time to spend money rather because there was more. And with that, he ended up down at the bar a lot more often, and he was able to go out and have drinks. And he ended up having an affair with another woman down at the bar, and his wife knew nothing about it. Um, his friend, one of his best longtime friends, decided, "Hey, you can't do this anymore. It's not right. I see how you guys look at each other." And Troy kind of brushes it off and is like, "You don't know, no, no." And so he ends up finding out that the other woman had gotten pregnant. He had gotten her pregnant, and he starts freaking out, and you can just tell on stage he's sweating and he is panicking. And he calls Rose out to the front porch because the setting is only on a front porch, and he tells her, and she's just like in disbelief, complete disbelief. And at that point, I think he realizes, there goes my wife, there goes my family, and he just gets more negative and negative and negative. So although he is an alcoholic, he tries to be there for the other woman and the baby that she is having because it is his kid. And in some ways, he gets respect points for that. In other ways, it's like, well, you kind of cheated on your wife. Um, he ends up finding out, well, Rose gets a call at the house that the baby's mother had died giving birth to the kid. And she is a whole different story. However, we're finish up with this. Um, Troy goes to get the baby and comes back with the baby. And Rose accepts the baby into her family. However, going back to Troy, he goes from a very kind of level character to a character who's on top of the world and doing anything and everything he wants to be doing. back lower than he even started. So he kind of went on a little roller coaster up and down. At the end of the play, he ended up dying. And on to Rose. Rose was kind of like the strong point in the play. She was the um, the mediator between between Corey and Troy. She would, like I said earlier, call Troy out on the stories and lies that he was telling and saying, and she was she made light of most of the issues that were there, and she was just really funny to watch. And if you haven't seen it or you did see it, the way the actress laughs is just fantastic and hilarious. Um, she goes from kind of letting Troy run the house and make the decisions to kind of stepping up for herself and saying, "Hey, this isn't okay. And although you messed up, I'm still going to help you, and this is how it's going to be." So it was really nice to see a, a woman in general just say, "You're wrong, but I'm going to make the best out of the situation that I can," which is very unlikely nowadays. And it kind of, she went from being a weaker character. Well, I wouldn't say a weak character. She was a more unspoken character compared to the end, where she was still very loyal, even though Troy had really messed up. And she preached to all of her kids that, yes, he is your father, you need to respect him. And they all respected her, so of course they were going to at least contain themselves and respect anything that they could at that precise time, especially at the funeral that takes place at the end of the play. Um, Corey goes through all of these different changes, and he almost starts out as kind of a character who's just immature and furious and angry at his father, which he has every right to be because his father did go down to the school and tell him, no, he can't play football anymore. So that was kind of a big block in Corey trying to define himself and who he is. And and it kind of ended up forcing him to do other things because it's not what his father believed in. And at the end of the play, he comes back and he's in a Marines uniform and he completely is a little bit different. He's quieter, he's more contained, and he still has hatred toward his father. However, when he speaks with his mother, he kind of bypasses the anger that he has and he speaks to his half sister, um, who is now about 13 years old and she doesn't know him, and she kind of warms up to him, and it's really nice to see, like here he is. He goes from a very angry child and angry teenager to being a loving person. So it was nice to see him mature through the play. And yeah, I mean, it was nice to see also that their relationship, Troy and Corey's relationship, kind of was never settled. It was never back down. It was never there to be really to begin with. Um, they started out as an okay family, kind of here and there, and with Troy stepping in and saying, no, you can't play football, it really screwed it in there for Corey to kind of rebel against his father. So it was never fixed. It was never completely closed. There was no closure for their relationship because Troy had passed away by the time that Corey had come back. So I was a little sad to see that, but yeah, so that's my spin on character development. I hope you guys enjoy this if you watch it, and yeah, have a good night.